Hello and welcome to WPXI.com. I'm Albie Oxenrider. We're continuing our preview of high school football around Western Pennsylvania with one of the great programs in terms of tradition, the Ambridge Bridgers. They're behind me under the direction of longtime coach Don Yanessa. They're going to try to get back to the playoffs this year. Don Yanessa, as we like to say, has been around since Moby Dick was a minnow. This is his 54th year as a player or coach in high school football. He's also one of those guys who has done it in a few different places. Don Yanessa was at Aliquippa for 17 years, was very successful there. He's starting his 37th season as a head coach and his 6th here at Ambridge, although the Bridgers are coming off a disappointing season. They did beat Aliquippa last year for the first time in 13 years. That's something to build on. The Bridgers were 4-5 overall, did not make the playoffs. They do have some skill back, but they are young. About 7 or 8 players as starters returning on both sides of the ball, some of them. But they're 4-5 overall last year. They weren't happy with that, but considering that this program was really in a losing way before Don Yanessa took over, they feel like they're building on that. And they're young, but they do have some experience and some skill back despite their youth. So the Bridgers are feeling good about getting back to the playoffs this year. They open up, by the way, with Aliquippa in game 1, which is the traditional opener. Look at the new school behind me, and something that I like in particular is the bridge. That's where the players will actually come out onto the field when this is completed. They'll walk under that bridge to this beautiful facility that's being built in Ambridge. They hope the football team can get back up to speed as well this year as the Bridgers try to make it back to the playoffs. There's some good stuff happening here at Ambridge. I mean, if you haven't seen the new Ambridge, you haven't seen Ambridge.
Well, yeah, it is exciting about what's happening with regard to the school district and the, and you see this is got a new high school sitting behind us. We're going to have new stands on the home side, new press box. The place is still going to seat about 7,500 to 8,000 people. The artificial surface has served us well these last 5 years. And even more exciting, Albie, is the fact that there are entrepreneurs and construction people and contractors coming in, and across from the high school over there on 11th Street, they're going to build brownstone condominiums and apartments and shopping malls. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in Ambridge. And
you've been around since Moby Dick was a minnow. You've been around for a long time. You've seen a lot of football in this whole area. But you're building something on the field here, which is important. And I know that you can only live for the season coming up, but you're coming off a win over Aliquippa, and that's always doesn't happen very often.
Well, it didn't happen for 13 years here, but you know, we've certainly put all that behind us, because the truth of the matter is last year, even though we won that opening game, we had a disappointing year. We thought we could be better than what we were. We didn't make the playoffs, and that didn't bode well with this coaching staff and what we're about. However, I got to tell you that from where we came, when we first came here, they were 18-81, and they hadn't had a winning season since Moby Dick was a minnow. But at any rate, we've had some winning seasons. We've won some playoff games in the last 5 years, and we're building. And this is a process. You know, it doesn't happen overnight unless you can recruit, and we don't recruit. So it's a process, and I think we're on track to eventually develop this thing into a program like they had here in the 80s.
When you open up with Aliquippa, and that's a traditional game, obviously there's a lot at stake there, bragging rights and everything else. That kind of gives you a gauge right away of where you are.
Well, you know, Aliquippa is Aliquippa. I mean, I was there for 17 years, and Smanic's been there now for over a decade, and he's continued all the traditions that we started there back in the 70s and 80s. And they always have great players. They have Division I kids every year, and they're well organized and well coached. So yeah, absolutely, that's a barometer for the kind of team you're going to have in that particular season when you line up against those guys, and you find out, you know, what you're made out of, because they're going to test you. There's no doubt about that.
What about your team coming back? You said about 7 or 8 starters on each side. You have something to build around.
Yeah, we have 7 or 8 kids back who started a year ago on both sides of the ball, some of them. And the thing is, we're not big up front, and we're young, but we have some good skill. I mean, we have guys that play the receivers and the running backs and in the secondary that can run. And that's important, that you have, you know, if you're going to be small, that's one thing. If you're small and slow, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
We're not going to be real big, but we're going to have some quickness about us.
Do you, is the attitude that you can take that next step? As you said, it was disappointing last year, but you have moments that you can build on, and the Aliquippa game was certainly one of them.
Well, here's the deal. I'm not a very good predictor with regard to how many we're going to win, because I'm concerned about everybody we play. If we played the Sisters of the Poor, I wouldn't sleep good on Thursday night. But the deal is, I think that if this team stays healthy, this team can have a good year.
Is this year, how many years now in Ambridge?
This is my 6th at Ambridge. This is my 44th year of high school coaching, 37 as a head coach. And this is my 54th football season as a player and a coach.
Oh my gosh!
It's been a long run, and it's been a good run. I've enjoyed it. I love working with kids, and another thing about this team, we got some really nice kids on this team.